employee side, if you come up through the garage, the downstairs front doors are locked because it's after 5 o'clock. Well, how would you normally get in the building? Yeah. 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 Okay, cool. All right, we'll see you when we see you. We're in the council chambers. Okay. Okay, cool. You can hear. Okay, sounds good. Okay. No worries. Okay, drive carefully. Bye. All right, Monica's on her way. And let's see. If I could reboot physical, I'd be a very wealthy man. That's funny. Okay, is Jay, are you on? Let me see. Jay, Caroline, who else? Kenny's got to leave by 5:45. Oh, Ekin.
Yeah,
I'm online, but somebody needs to make me a panelist.
Yeah, Carolyn.
Oh, Caroline's there? And Ekin, can somebody make Ekin a panelist? Mr. IT person? Who is it, John, or who is it? David. Oh, David, can you help us? Okay, she's in. Ekin, so we may be close to a quorum. Let's see.
We just need 6 people.
Okay, is there a way to move the attendance thing so it, thank
Carolyn
you,
should
so we can
be-
see. So Caroline,
We need to get Carolyn.
great.
to
Hi,
be
Ekin.
a panelist as well.
Yeah, Caroline too.
There we go.
Well, Monica can sit there when she gets there. Okay. Oh, so can we have Caroline? Caroline, are you on? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Howdy, howdy. Okay. So we have Caroline Ekin. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need one more, right?
We only need 6. If we have 11,
We have 11, 6. We need at least 51%.
So six should be a quorum if there are 11 members.
6. Oh, okay. Oh, who is the Jay? Oh, is that Jay? Is that you, Jay?
Yeah, it's Jay
Great.
DeBaker.
Okay, cool. Let's get started. And then we'll figure out what happens next.
Hey, Karen, if I may say, you look wonderful in that big chair.
Just consider that a figment of your imagination because you're not going to see it.
For the record.
I can help it. That's very funny. And I don't know, I'm not sure, I didn't hear about Osiris. So, okay. Good afternoon. The time I have is 5:07, sorry, 5:07. And it is the July 12 meeting of the St. Louis County Human Relations Commission. Let's first establish a quorum and call the roll. So let me do that. Secretary, Commissioner Azra Ahmad. I don't know if she's in the pipeline. Myself, I'm here. Commissioner DeBeer.
Here.
Commissioner Fan. You have to unmute, Caroline. You need to at least be audio to be, we don't have formal rules on this, but I think you need at least to be audio present.
Sorry, technical issues,
Okay.
present.
Thank you. Commissioner James.
here.
Commissioner Johnson. Did Cindy come in? Okay. Commissioner Meredith. Commissioner Pellegrini.
Here.
Commissioner Robinson.
Here.
Commissioner Smith. And Commissioner Stewart is on her way. She's actually listening in, but she's not able to talk, but she's on her way. So that gives us a quorum. Let us welcome, just for the record, additional guests. Mr. Kenny Murdoch, St. Louis County Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Ms. Theda Person. I am embarrassed to say, what is your title at this stage of the game? Right, from the DEI division, and from the county counselor's office, Noah Goldcamp. Anybody else I'm missing? Izzy, officially? Oh, okay, thank you. And Izzy, of course. Thank you. Never see your face, but your presence is extraordinarily important. Did everybody have an opportunity to look at the minutes who participated for the May 12 meeting? And if so, may I entertain a motion for an approval of the minutes?
So move.
Move Commissioner James, a second.
Second from Jay.
Thank you, Jay. Vote in favor, please. All in favor of approval of the minutes of Friday, May 12?
Aye.
Any, I would abstain for those of you who weren't formally confirmed and part of the meeting at that time. That would be reasonable. Those opposed? The minutes for Friday, May 12 are approved. Under communications and considerations, we don't have anything formally specific. I will say that and I'm just blanking on the date, 2 weeks ago on a Saturday night, the folks from Cultural Leadership, which is a longtime nonprofit agency dedicated to dialogue and engagement between Black, Jewish, Muslim, Christian youth, and many others, came back from their journey of a lifetime for the class that I think is number 18. Dr. Page was unable to be there, so I was able to stand in. Crazy impressive. They go on a 3-week trip of all different civil rights divisions and parts of the country, and they engage with people, they have conversation. Commissioner James knows it well because he's on the board. Boy, one of those formative moments for these high schoolers, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, actually. Broad cross-section of folks, and they spoke each individually about their experience. Oh, wow. That's one of those the children teach the grown-ups kind of thing. Anyway, so that was something that the county was able to be present at, and certainly, gosh, with a lot of great spirit. So we turn to section 3, new business. Welcoming new commissioners. So we are very excited to have all our new commissioners. So let me take the chair's opportunity to embarrass you from the get-go and ask those who have not joined before to tell us a little bit about yourselves, so we can, and then we can all sort of introduce ourselves and share a little bit. And I'll start with you, Commissioner Robinson, if you would, a few minutes. That'd be great.
I'm Commissioner Linda Robinson, and I am the director of Save Our Sisters program at the Urban League. So I made my year there. I consider myself a community servant and volunteer. I am a current board of director with the Maple Ridge High School District. And I just pretty much, when I saw this opportunity to get on some of the St. Louis County commissions, this was the one that I'm really passionate about. That align where I want our county to be and bringing people together. So that what made me to kind of join this commission. So that's me in a nutshell.
Great, thank you. Welcome. Commissioner Meredith.
I'm Sue Meredith, and as far as occupation is concerned, I'm retired. I think I've been retired many times in my life. I know it's, but anyway, my most recent paid job was I was state representative in Jefferson City for 6 years. Prior to that, I had been elected to school board in the Brittner School District. I guess I was there for 6 years total, not all at once, 3 and 3, but sometimes that happens. I've also worked as a CASA.
Right.
So for anybody who doesn't know, Court Appointed Special Advocate for foster children who have been removed from their homes. And we advocated for the children, not their parents, not the state, the kids. In fact, I have a kid that she's still one of my kids. She's 26 years old. She aged out 8 years ago, but here we are.
Nice.
That's nice.
And that's the most recent. Other than that, obviously we live in St. Louis County. Have 3 children, all daughters. That's a challenge. And I have 2, almost 3 grandchildren.
Nice.
So awesome.
Anticipatory. Appreciate that. Thank you. Welcome. Commissioner James, why don't you introduce yourself too?
Dwayne T. James. So my day job, I am the Director of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion for MU Extension across the state, and I also do community development work in St. Louis County, volunteering. I helped start the Ferguson Youth Initiative, the Ferguson Twilight Run, was a former city council member for the city of Ferguson as well. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Pellegrini.
Ikin Pellegrini, Professor of Leadership at University of Missouri St. Louis, also Associate Dean in the College of Business, and I'm on the board of St. Louis Forum.
Thank you. Commissioner Fan, share a little bit about yourself.
Yes, founder and president of the Missouri Asian American Youth Foundation. Moved to St. Louis in 2014 with my husband, and then I spent the fall up in Ferguson. Yeah, I've been a member of the commission since 2020. It was the last thing I did before lockdown.
Yeah. And Commissioner DeBeer.
Hey, good evening. This is Jay. I worked 30 years as a healthcare executive, and I'm also an ordained Lutheran pastor. And my interest in the committee was a lot about social justice and being able to make a positive change in the county. So look forward to serving with all of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay. And when we have an opportunity to hear from the others at the next meeting, we'll do some more introducing and maybe figure out a way to do a bit of team building. Commissioner Stewart, when she comes in, can introduce herself. And my name is Karen Oresti. It's embarrassing to say I've been associated with this commission in one way or another since 2001, when I was appointed by the late Buzz Westfall, and became chair in 2020 upon the retirement of longtime chair Robert Cohn. And prior to that time, prior to coming to the county, I've been with the county. Actually, I'm the director of administration. For the last 18 months, was the regional director of the Anti-Defamation League's Heartland Division, which covered Missouri, Eastern Kansas, and Southern Illinois. Am engaged in the community still on that sort of broad anti-hate, bias, bigotry, and discrimination space. So very apt to be able to be engaged with this commission, particularly now, frankly, too, because the discussion on new meeting dates and locations, let me actually insert something in that on the agenda, which is this group is a work in progress, and very much a work in progress right now, because since 2020, this is the first meeting that we will have in person. So we've been virtual. And because of the things that were happening in 2020 uniquely, and Commissioner Fan will remember this in particular, with the massive spike in anti-Asian hate, and what is now resulting in a much more, I would say, vibrant and consistent advocacy effort on behalf of the Asian American Pacific Islander community in the United States. But that tipped us into a different level of energy. So we started meeting every month. Prior to that time, we really weren't meeting as consistently in the course of a year. And all of a sudden, there were lots of things to talk about. We had spiked at a time after the murder of Michael Brown, and kind of in terms of energy and that sort of thing, and then we kind of ebbed back again. So we were virtual every month, and I think it's fair to say, and by the way, any commissioner who's been around, certainly since 2020, can weigh in on this, because this would otherwise be me talking in my I voice. But we're looking for a new kind of energy as well. The reason we're here tonight is because we were hoping, and part of our last conversation was we were hoping to be at a county library space. And that way we could kind of move ourselves around the county to different communities and engage people in the public forum setting. I think it's going to take us a little while to build that kind of public forum energy. And partly it's just going to be more word of mouth, and also getting support perhaps from the comms team and the county executive's office to help lift up that this is a moment in time to refresh and start to do things a little differently. Hence the meeting in person, hence, gosh, for years, actually, we met, for those of you who've been in the 9th floor conference room in the county executive's office. We did that, that's where we met, but technically that wasn't a place where anybody really from the public could be. And it wasn't unless you were formally invited because of some particular educational opportunity or because of some event that people not on the commission actually showed up. And we got to change that up too. So, so the hope is that we can move this around the county to make it accessible to folks. We made a decision last month, or I'm sorry, in May, to go every other month, which I think is just a better use of everybody's time. Look, if some massive trauma happens, I think we'd be in great shape to start meeting again more consistently. But I don't think that's necessary right now. Every other month will be just fine. So the second Wednesday of every other month at 5 p.m. I am not, and neither is any current commissioner, I believe, a fan of really long meetings. So if we can time it to go from 5 to no later than 6:30, I think that's not unreasonable. If it's shorter than that, amen. And the other piece, which I would throw out for general discussion, and I have no preformed thinking about this, but we had been talking about it probably over the last 6 or 8 months, is what is the most effective way for us to be in community? Certainly there's an argument that if there's a particular issue that needs a response from a group like a Human Relations Commission, then we should be educated about the issue. So whatever we need to do to get us educated, whether that's to invite special speakers or to go to places where we might learn in community, that's something we can, I think, reasonably make a commitment to. The other bucket, which I think is the big bucket, is the advocacy bucket. If you look at our enabling ordinance, it gives us pretty broad powers to do a lot of things in terms of gathering information, investigations, even basically subpoenaing witnesses in particular situations if we feel that that kind of action is justified. I'm not sure we've ever gotten to the point where that has actually been legit. Not yet. But it seems to be more, how can we be effective in community? How can we be value added to folks in community who need the collective, very high level of wisdom that sits around our virtual and actual table? And so I would throw it out there for truly just some very basic brainstorming about where you have been, where you've found your levels of education and advocacy and community to be most successful, and would that sync with us? What would that look like for a group like this? I will say that over the years, the county executives have used members of the commission, relied on members of the commission differently, to sometimes show up into spaces where they have a conflict, or perhaps to even potentially be somebody who does testify if it warrants us making a trip to Jeff City for something like that, or just to be a meaningful voice when we have the level of expertise that people should be hearing from. And so I'm open to whatever that discussion looks like, and I would invite everybody online as well as in the chamber to weigh in, and we can start to build some thinking about what this would look like in the future.
I agree with everything you just said. I do think that this commission can take more of an active and proactive role in the discussions and needs of St. Louis County. So how do we do that in a strategic and efficient way, I think, is one of the things that I'm continuing to think about. And how do we ensure that all the residents know that we're here for them, that we're here to basically help in that regard. So.
Yeah, that was something I was going to mention. What is our outreach? How are we reaching the residents of St. Louis County to know that we are here? What is our mission? And, how can we support them especially as you was mentioning about the Asian Pacific, and we got to think about all our immigrants who came to town. You know, when you speak of DEI, it's everyone, it's inclusive. And everybody kind of focus on the black and white, but it's everyone that's in St. Louis County. So, and trying to understand that message of who we support and why we support, and we are here for them.
Oh, Monica. Oh, hey, come on in. Great. You can please have a seat over here. Oh, you want, okay. You can reach over. While Monica is coming in, let me just answer Commissioner Robinson's question real quick, just in terms of the language. So this is St. Louis County's ordinances. 714.030 is the language that is our functions and duties. Point 1, the commission shall act in an advisory capacity to the county executive and county council, and its functions and duties shall be to foster mutual self-respect and to further amicable relations among the various segments of the population which together comprise the county, to help preserve the county's good reputation for acceptance and respect and promote even better relations among its people, to help make it possible for each person, regardless of actual or perceived race, color, age, disability, religion, national, ethnic, or cultural origin, or sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression, political affiliation or hairstyle, protective hair, or natural or cultural hair texture or style, to develop talents and abilities without limitation, and to assist the community in the fullest realization of its human resources, to develop talents and abilities without limitation, and to assist the community in fullest realization of its human resources in order to accomplish the objectives herein set out. So, and it says, and again, we can respond to problems affecting human and intergroup relations, make studies, surveys, and investigations to provide accurate data for orderly and constructive community development, and to recommend such measures as are deemed necessary to carry out the objectives for which the commission has been established. And so that's awfully broad, right? And there's truthfully, no limit to who we can work with, right? In terms of community group, there's nothing. And in fact, that is one piece that I think we could expand significantly, which is who do we work with and why. But let me interrupt myself and introduce Commissioner Dr. Monica Stewart to tell us a little bit about herself.
About myself. Well, I'm a newbie. Been with the county almost a year. My background is education. I've been in elementary PE and health, assistant principal, faculty adjunct at Hairstow, MOBAP. I've had 9 years of nonprofit. I'm all about the people and doing what's right and educating on different things. I'm vice president on the U City School Board, and I'm the community engagement liaison for the county exec office.
Thank you. So that's me. Thank you. So we were just talking about the broader issue that we've been bringing up. So anybody else want to weigh in?
I think Jay's hand is up.
Oh, Jay?
Yeah, thank you. So, great job, Chairperson Rosti, and welcome to the new commissioners. One thing that's kind of been rolling around in my mind is maybe it's a good idea for us to spend maybe a couple 3 hours together to look at our charter, but then also from that come up with priorities and then develop action plans out of that so we can go forward. And along with that, maybe create a space for emergent needs that have happened in the county or nation. I don't know if that's just an idea I have, but I think it may give us some momentum and structure to go forward. And I'm open to any criticism of that, or I'm just throwing that out there. Thank you.
That's a good idea because that's real broad.
Yeah, well, and I like the idea of being able to look not just at sort of the mainstream work, but what do we do if there's an emergency? What is that trauma response?
Right.
Great, thank you, Jay. Anybody else? Anybody online? Let me, oh, somebody coming in. No? Okay. Let me follow up on that, though. If we were to do a retreat, let's say a mini retreat, does everybody have a preferred? I mean, I'm really okay with protecting people's weekends. So if we did something on a weeknight that was like 5 to 8, could people see that fitting reasonably into their schedule? I mean, anybody have any
Those are
strong feelings
evenings.
about that?
I think it's important that we build a strong base. Because if you don't have a strong base, you don't have anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if we sit together and talk about who are we, what are we doing, why are we doing it, how can we go from wherever we are to wherever we want to be? I think it would be good to get a good, strong foundation.
Would everybody be okay if we used the next meeting, instead of it being 5 to 6:30, it was 5 to 8, and we scheduled it in a place where we could comfortably have a chat? Although, okay, so let me just check in with Noah. If we have a meeting, even if it's not just a standard meeting, it's a retreat or, team building exercises or whatever, if there's more than 3 commissioners together, then that triggers our sunshine law obligation, right?
Right.
Do we then make sure that we have at least some level of opportunity during that 3 hours? We could do it early on to provide a public comment space for anybody who needed to show up then, who wanted to say something?
Right. I would think that would be the best way to address that.
Okay. And we're not, and similar, I'm just thinking, since last night was the council meeting, and the council has sort of their pre-meeting or early meeting public forum and then the after, but they limit the whole thing to an hour. We could do something similar, but we would have to decide that as a group, as a whole. I guess at that time we could figure it out, right? Is that okay? Or do we have to provide notice in advance that we're only taking public comment, let's say in the first 20 minutes of the meeting?
Well, if you mean by advance by the 24-hour notice, I think you would have to give that advance notice.
Just the 24 hours? Okay.
Right. So you could decide up until 24 hours. And then when the agenda is posted, it would need to be on the agenda.
Right, okay, okay, that's do. Okay. County is 72, that's right, okay. That's doable. That's very doable. I mean, I think it's going to be a while, truthfully, before we have a crowd of people who really want to be heard. And that's probably something that would be more of an emergency situation more than anything else, especially when you'd want to do a community check-in on something. So if I were to notice up, if we were to notice up this receipt for this retreat for September 12th, if you can make that effort, and we'll try, so we're giving everybody close to 60 days notice anyway.
September 13th. Yeah,
September 13th, sorry. Okay, September 13th. I didn't, September 13th, okay. And we'll work on that then. Okay. Let's see. I don't think there was anything else in there that was significant in terms of thinking around those issues. Oh, I'm sorry, yes. So we did get one, I would say, vote of assist from Eliza Warren, the Executive Director of the Missouri Commission on Human Rights. I did have a chance to talk to her because we had talked about doing that. She will be a partner. So to the extent that this commission decides to ramp up its participation in what the state commission is doing, like, she's all in support. So I think we can rely on Director Warren to help us in that regard.
That's perfect.
Okay.
I would just say for the September 13th, we're planning on meeting here.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, to see if it's available.
Yeah.
Right. The nice thing about that room is the space and the additional seating, and it does have a virtual, it has a big television in there that we could use for people who do have to be virtual. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So pending, if not, we can, part of the challenge, I tried to look at all the libraries. I appreciate Izzy's help. St. Louis County libraries are booked way in advance. But one of the options was perhaps we could use our influence with the director, Kristen Sorth, see if we couldn't. It's always
Another
good.
thing that we can do is try to check some of the municipal libraries as well.
Well,
I mean,
that's
like,
true.
Yeah, U
Okay.
City has a municipal
Oh, the new
library.
one, like
Yeah.
that new
We got a
space
new
would be
one.
a really good, yeah,
Mhm.
parking's easy there too.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool.
So, Just
Yeah.
a thought. I would say let's check this one.
Okay,
My suggestion would be this first and then a library, yeah.
okay. Cool. Okay.
As long as we tell the security guards.
Yes. So the other, Commissioner Fan needs to get back into WebEx. Is there a way that she can do that? Can she try again? Let's see.
Yeah, we lost Jay too.
I think, yeah, I think Jay had a meeting to go to, but we still retain the quorum. Okay, she's at a conference. Okay, well, if she can be virtual, I mean, that's the other thing. We never set a rule that said you couldn't participate if you were virtual. And if she could join for some of it virtually, that would be good. Okay. Okay. Okay, and so the other thing was to consider nominations and potentially vote if we could, but at least to consider nominations for a new vice chair. The previous vice chair, Shanette Hall, resigned her commission seat a few weeks ago. She's currently at Harris Stowe herself, I think. And so that position becomes open. So everybody doesn't have to jump at once, but if you want to think about it, to be honest with you, I can't even remember what responsibilities we heaped on the vice chair. But let's just open it up for thinking about it, and anybody who wants to call. I mean, ultimately, the vice chair's responsibility is when the chair cannot be available to fill in. And sort of we could make up other responsibilities as we go along. So let's at least put that, we'll table the follow-up on that for the September meeting, because that'll be a good time for people to talk about that sort of thing. Commissioner Ahmad, who has taken on the role as secretary, has also had it's not been a very heavy lift, let's put it that way. And grateful for the assistance of the folks from the county executive's office, particularly Izzy, to help on all the administrative bits and pieces. So with that, the old business, but special nonetheless, would be the St. Louis County Equity Plan. So I would call on Mr. Murdoch to join the conversation and update everybody on the wherefores and how-tos. Oh, you're going to come to, let's see. I'm not going to make you give us your zip code.
Well, y'all the commissioners, so I'll just come here. Listen, that's okay. But right now, we are in the process of the St. Louis Equity Plan. Now, we have shifted over the writing of the first draft to write with the Youth Advisory Board. But the Youth Advisory Board must go through Sunshine Law training before we can actually start writing. So we're going to have them go through Sunshine Law training early in August, and then we should start putting writing down sometime after they go through Sunshine Law training. They will develop the first draft, and we'll get their perspective on a lot of things. They're currently looking at some of the YouTube videos we did on the equity plan. They will do the first draft, and then we'll bring that draft to this commission to look at and say, yeah, I think you properly captured, and give edits on the second draft. But once again, I believe we can open up Sunshine Law training, not just for the Youth Advisory Board, but maybe commissioners if you've never had it before, because Sunshine Law training is kind of important if you're producing a writing document.
Right.
And so I will talk to legal and see if we can open it up to both commissions to just get kind of a brusher up on what that is.
That's a great
All right,
idea.
any questions or anything?
Well, and let me just say, so it was from February or March of 2021,
Oh, yeah, the
right?
meetings that are up on YouTube,
For
yeah.
a year? Was it
Oh, yeah,
almost a year, 11 months? And so we had those 10 or 11 different sections that we were looking at, and people from the community were asked to participate, and most of them were here in this chamber, and a lot of different people came and shared an awful lot of information. And is it Boxcast? If you go to Boxcast is where it
No,
is, or it's,
those are
oh, it's
still up on
YouTube.
YouTube because
Okay.
that was time we were using YouTube. That was
Okay.
before the county started.
So the county's YouTube channel, but there's, if you wanted to look through it, there's like hours and hours of stuff to look at.
Yeah, and if any commissioners want just the list of them, the links and everything,
Yeah.
just email Karen, forward it to me, and I'll send you the full list of them. You can watch them at your leisure.
And my hope is that because we're also looking at sort of more engaging internet electronic ways of creating these kinds of presentations, is that it'll be like a flip book, right? So there will be resources in each of these topic areas, and people can then flip through it online, and that allows us to keep it fresh and to update the information and personnel as things change. Because last year there wasn't a youth advisory commission, or that's just been in effect for.
That's only been effect for a little bit of time,
Yeah.
because at first we were going to write it here in-house.
Right. And so,
then getting the youth advisory, I
Yeah.
think also gives it a fresh perspective.
for real,
Since there are things that they encounter that
yeah.
I don't,
Correct.
I can't speak for that generation's voice, but.
But it
I think
also
they
makes
have
it
a
more
prominent voice
interesting.
to be
I mean, it
heard.
makes it more interesting, it makes it more internet friendly, and it makes it potentially more accessible for those from an ADA perspective. There are a lot of reasons to look at doing that way. Plus, the county has a very decided posture now on sustainability, and if we can not produce paper ever.
What I would say to this commission is that the ideas of equity change over time. And to build an equity plan is kind of trying to catch a moment in time and trying to predict what's necessary for a community in the future. To that end, I would invite any commissioners, if you have a subject matter that you would like us to look at and vet for this equity plan, don't be shy to think that we've already started the writing, because we have not. So we're still can take in input, and still I can bring things up to the youth and bring things up to the commission later if you want to do something like digital justice and things like that.
Good point. Yeah. Okay.
And can you remind us that the equity plan is internal use or also external from St. Louis County as well?
It's going to be a publication that we're going to give to the county executive and probably a copy to the county council as kind of a roadmap to what kind of bills or laws they should look at to make in the future, and what kind of direction county council could see. I don't want to necessarily predict what's in that document, but I know one thing we had talked about and looked at is, does the county need like a deep fake plan in case somebody takes someone's image? And is that something we need to look at? So that kind of suggestions, but also what it means to build equity in what different geographic areas in our county, and kind of a roadmap for us to have those conversations that both branches of government need to have.
I would love for it to be also adopted by a lot of municipalities as well. For things.
It's hard to speak for municipalities.
I understand that.
No, I
But
mean,
it would be available for them to see and read and understand, and maybe we can even go to each municipalities and kind of explain to them after it's produced. So
I mean,
that
would it
might
be, it would be nice to have it be external. I think they're,
one step at a time.
In the both ends.
Let's
I'm
get
always in
let's
the
get
both
a
ends.
plan
phase,
written
so, yeah,
down
I think,
after everybody's trained on how to write.
Baby steps.
Mhm.
Baby steps.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anything else we should?
No, just
And-
stay
and-
tuned, and if you want to, I'll try and get legal to tell me whether or not they can do both Teams
Okay.
of Time Sunshine Training, and any issues that you want to bring up, feel free to email my office and say, maybe we need to look at this, maybe we need to look at that, any
Right.
kind of list you come up with, okay?
And Kenny raises another point, which is not only do we have the Youth Advisory Commission, which has some of our same interests at heart, but we have the Commission on Disabilities. And they have
That's
a very
very
fluid
valuable
group as
commission,
well,
yeah.
and there could be some really interesting joint, which we haven't looked at in the past, ability to share some learning information and energy that would make us, that would magnify what we are talking about sort of beyond this table. So there's that option.
And there's the LGBTQ plus task force.
Oh, the task force,
Yes, I'm a
right.
member of the task force, and the task force would like to have some input, I believe. So I do meet with the task force, but they haven't formally stated, but they will be
Right.
having that discussion and bring them in, because the task force does do a lot of work around equity and building equity.
Right. And frankly, the minutes from the last meeting reflect that we spent a fair amount of time learning from folks engaged with the legislature on the issue of anti-trans. So many of the different anti-trans bills that came out of Jeff City this year, that was a focus of the last few months, frankly, of learning. So,
All right, commissioners, thank you very much today.
thank you, thank you.
I have to head out, so everybody have a good weekend.
Okay, all good. Yeah, we can make this, let's see, I think the only other thing to say is there, I'm guessing that there is not anybody here from the public forum. Is there anybody? I can't tell, Izzy, is there anybody online who wants to address? Doesn't look like it. Great. Okay. And then before we, so next September 13th, 5 o'clock, this location will confirm if we get through that. And then I would also say, oh, hang on, I'm getting text. Okay, yeah, Commissioner Fan is back, thank you. So Wednesday, September 13th from 5 to 8 p.m. If Commissioner Fan, if your travel schedule does allow you to spend some, if not all of that meeting with us virtually, we'll make an opportunity for you to be able to do that. And we do have a website, which is, I believe, hrc@stlouiscountymo.gov. So people who are interested in sharing information with the commission can do so through that address. Is there any new business or good and welfare that anybody would like to bring to the meeting at this time?
You said HRC.
I think, yeah, I believe it's hrc@stlouiscountymo.gov. And I think that's on the website for contact information. Anybody have anything, any good and welfare or anything that they would like to share at this time? Okay. May I then entertain a motion to adjourn?
So move.
And a second? Got a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Hearing no one in opposition? It is just 6:47. We'll call this meeting closed.
547.
Oh, 5:47. Oh, boy. And it's only Wednesday. Do I want to stay longer? I'm always happy to hang out with good people. Thank you, everybody, very much. Look forward to September.